Deion Sanders is putting on a leadership clinic at Colorado University, and I'm going to explain why. Now, a lot of people talk about leadership, but have never actually been in a position where they lead people. A lot of people talk about building culture, but haven't been part of teams and organizations where they were in charge or part of building culture. They're great marketers, they're great speakers, but they have not lived leadership and culture. What we're seeing in Colorado is Deion Sanders taking an organization, infusing it with his culture, infusing it with his leadership style, and building a program that people want to follow. So what's the big deal? The prime effect, what's happening? Either he is overconfident, which some people would say leads to cocky, but we can talk about cocky versus confident, or he's a leadership genius. I think he's a confident leadership genius. He's got a group of men, a group of staffers, ladies, men as well, that have bought in to what is happening at that program. So let's take a few things and pick them apart to see why Deion is excelling at Colorado. Number one, he knows who he is. He has clarity on who he is. He is prime. Now, Coach Prime. He was prime time when he played Major League Baseball and he played in the NFL. What's interesting, we're hearing stories of how he stepped into that persona of prime time. Deion, he says, this is his words loosely, that Deion Sanders couldn't handle the pressure, the fame, the fortune, everything that goes with it, the brokenness, the lack of a father figure in his life. So he created a persona called Primetime. Now, Todd Herman wrote a book called The Alter Ego Effect. It's a great book. It talks about stepping into a persona when you're on your field of play. Primetime, Coach Deion has done that. So he knows who he is. He's not afraid to share his mind, whether it's with reporters, interviews. He knows who he is and he'll share his mind. He'll share his thoughts. He'll share his faith. And we're seeing that his faith has become very central to who he is and how he shows up in the world. Another lesson in leadership is he has people buying into what's happening. He is not afraid to connect with his players, with his staff in a way that provides hard feedback, tough love. But what's interesting is I've heard clips on the sidelines or seen and read his lips where he's like, love you, son, love you, mean it, go in there, do the thing. But yet he will chew them a new one when they need it. A lot of times leaders just want to be liked, but they don't want to connect with their people. Having people follow you is extremely hard to do. Now, we live in an influencer society when we have folks on social where they're influencing, and I get that. So that is influencer leadership, if you want to call it that. But he has people that have come alongside of him, come to support him because they believe in what he is doing. It's very fun to watch him. He celebrates the wins. He knows how to have fun. And I saw when they were playing Arizona State recently, his kicker made the game-winning field goal. And he said, do the dance, son, something like that. Go out there and celebrate. He wants folks to embrace the moment. Now, listen, I get it. I don't necessarily agree with every flashy thing that's happened. Shador's not my player. Shador is his son. The whole watch thing. Okay. I don't know. I get it. But there are things that I'm like, oosh, that might be a little cringe for me. But you know what? It's his style. It's his program. And his players are rising to the occasion. No one gave him a chance. But yet they've turned around a program based on leadership and culture. So when you give your players, when you give your team hard feedback, how do they react? Are you the type of leader that just wants to be liked, or are you willing to make hard decisions? This really struck me when I heard that he benched his son because his son was late to a team meeting. Now, I've coached my boys all the years when we played sports. I've coached a lot of players, professional athletes, etc. And it's hard to bench a star. Never mind when it's your son. And we see the little league dads, the dance moms, the soccer dads, where they are just there to make sure that their kid gets playing time. And I'm not saying that hasn't happened with Coach Deion, but when you're in a bowl game and you bench your quarterback, that says a lot to me. Well, Matt, it doesn't really mean a lot. It was just a bowl game. It doesn't matter. I'm sure in his contract, he had something. If he wins a bowl game, he gets X. So we can argue or agree to disagree, but it shows me a lot when a coach is willing to bench a star player. So as we look at his leadership style, it is basically get up, get your work done, work hard, do the thing. I think sometimes as leaders, we want all the glitz, the glamour, the things, the trappings that come with being a leader, which is really positional leadership. John Maxwell talks about the 5 levels of leadership. But we're seeing a lot of different leadership styles folded into what's happening in Colorado. So if you're not liking the primetime effect, that's okay. What is your leadership style? What does that look like? How do you show up for your team? How do you show up in your organization? How do you show up in your home? Are you disciplined? Are you self-aware? Are you willing to make hard decisions? Those are the things that leaders do. Now, I don't know what it's like to be a professional athlete and make $45 million over my lifetime or over a contract or whatever the high-paying contracts are. I was a professional coach, pit crew coach, working for drivers like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, in NASCAR, so I get what it's like to work with and to be a professional coach. There's a lot required. So it's easy to be an armchair leadership quarterback, but you need to be stepping into the game. You need to be stepping into the arena so you understand what's happening. I can just tell you this. He has surrounded himself with people that believe in him, and this is why, because he believes in himself. We have to learn to believe in ourselves first before other people believe in us. Now, people may argue, say, I need someone to believe in me. And you know what? It is beautiful when someone comes alongside of you and says, I see potential in you. And he is doing that. But at some point, the self-awareness, the self-confidence has to kick in. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to say, I am here to do this thing. And he is unwavering in his beliefs about himself. I love watching what's happening at Colorado University because I like seeing what's happening as he's impacting the program, he's impacting the student body, he's impacting the lives of students around him because he is teaching them hard things. He's teaching them what it's like to be the underdog. He's teaching them what it's like to celebrate success. He is teaching them life lessons that will go with them and help them be better contributors in this life. So you may not like the prime effect, but it's a great case study in leadership and how someone can step in, lead an organization, and teach them to win and to do it the right way.